I always encourage procurement professionals to start with curiosity. For instance, spend time with the business, a lot of time, ask questions, and understand what real success looks like for your stakeholders. And once you understand their priorities, you can create value in many ways. For instance, improving supplier performance, reducing risks, increasing efficiency, or just helping them solve real problems, not just routine ones. And to be back to savings again, we know that savings, they will always be important, but procurement becomes truly strategic when it helps solve business problems. And that's when people stop seeing procurement as just a function and start seeing it as a trusted partner. And it's very important and significant impact.
Thank you so much for joining another edition of The Never-Ending Climb for Stronger Supply Chain and Procurement. Today, the great pleasure of being joined by Nina. Now, Nina started in procurement and is passionate about making a difference. And she's got just a little bit of experience in the FMC sector. Nina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good day, Sean. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to join you today because, to be honest, one of my favorite things about podcasts is that they allow us to move beyond some formal corporate conversations, and we get a chance to share some real experiences. And so thank you very much. And I'm really excited to be part of this conversation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm always curious, how did you get started into procurement? Some people end up kind of caught into it, and some people really aim at it. Some people were invited into it.
Nope. Like many people in procurement, I didn't grow up thinking like one day I will work in procurement. No. And it was really, honestly saying, it was not a career path I originally planned. I actually started my procurement career when I was 21 years old, and it was essentially, I didn't plan it at all. And it was one of the largest government-owned companies in the country. And it was incredible learning experience because every day brought new challenges, new stakeholders, and completely different tasks every day. And there was nothing routine about it. And what attracted me to procurement was the combination of business, of strategy thinking, and relationship with people. And I noticed by the time that procurement sits exactly at the intersection of all those areas. And the longer I worked for this field, the more I realized that procurement is much more than just buying, goods, services, or construction works. So everybody knows that procurement professionals, they face new challenges every day, but that's also what makes our field so interesting. And this is always interesting, passionate thing, and there's always a new problem to solve or a different perspective to consider, and that's what has kept me interested and motivated throughout my career. And here I am today after 16 years later, and still passionate about my profession and still learning something new every day in this field. Yeah.
You know what I really, really love about that is that for people seeking something where you get to explore and learn and take care of new things, and it's not just routine, when you get into the flow in procurement, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? It's you get to see something new just about every day and learn and learn and learn. Curiosity really serves people in this role, doesn't it?
Sure. Curiosity is the main thing in procurement, and there is one thing I wish I had understood earlier in my career is that stakeholders, they don't care about procurement goals and procurement targets. They care about achieving their business goals. And why I'm saying this, I'm going to curiosity. And, early on, I was focusing on procurement processes, savings, sourcing strategies, and those things, they are really important. But over the time, I realized that being a strategic business partner starts when understanding the problem and not just jumping straight solving it. So there was one case I remember in my earlier career that one stakeholder approaching procurement and asking for a new supplier, and immediately my procurement brain went into action, and I started thinking like supplier analysis, RFP planning, evaluation criteria, and so on. And I was ready to launch the sourcing process. But after several conversations, which were caused by my curiosity, I realized that they didn't actually need a new supplier at all. And what they really needed was a process redesign. And since then, one of the first questions I ask is not what do you need to buy, but it's what are we trying to achieve, or what problem are we trying to solve.
That's one of the most powerful ways to show up well for the people that lean on procurement that need it.
Yeah.
And that's asking the questions that are the most relevant to the business. And I think there's so many people out there that, as you said, they get caught up in, well, procurement needs this and my policy is that and our process is this, as opposed to, no, we're here to serve the business. And maybe this group spends more time on sourcing and contracting and buying, but the business itself is really good at running the business. And bringing that curiosity like you did is one of those wonderful stories that pays off again and again and again. When you think about things that separate procurement teams from the people that are chasing the policy and only chasing the savings, as opposed to the teams that are there trying to unlock that next level of throughput, performance, optimization, EBITDA, whatever that is for the business, what do you see that places you in this team that would help somebody else look at it the same way and catch up to you?
In my experience, if we talk about two teams, for instance, one team is focused on savings and another is focused on business needs. What separates these two teams is ability to create business value beyond cost reduction. We all know that savings will always be important, but they are often the results of good procurement, but they're not the whole story. So I'm actually very passionate about this topic because every time in procurement field, people talk about how to say sit at the table, but this seat is not given. It must be earned, and such seats, they are earned throughout trust, through delivering value, and through understanding the business, and through helping solve real problems. And teams that focus only on savings are often brought in at the end of the process. But teams that understand growth, understand risks and business priorities, they get involved much earlier in these processes. And the most successful procurement teams, they speak the language of business. They bring insights, they challenge assumptions, and they help leaders to make informed decisions. And after all these aspects, they become trusted advisors rather than just procurement experts. And that's when procurement stops being viewed as a support function, which can be used just for buying stuff, and it starts being viewed as a strategic business partner. And yes, that's
Absolutely.
the things that make difference between such two teams. Yeah.
When you think about procurement leaders that are trying to make that shift, what story would you offer them to help with an example of how you've done that and something that they can relate to?
For procurement leaders who want to move beyond these cost savings, I think the first step is to spend more time understanding the business and stakeholder priorities. For instance, in the beginning of my career, as I said, I was 21. I was curious about everything. My curiosity was, I don't know, overrank. And I was asking a lot of questions. I was interested in every field. And when, for instance, purchase order came to me, I was not just launching the procurement process. I was learning everything about this kind of stuff, or no kind of services. I like expertise in this field. And, I think these steps, they are very important for future leaders, because if early in my career, I focused heavily on just sourcing and negotiations and so on, by the time I realized that stakeholders, they don't wake up thinking about like procurement objectives. They are just thinking about growth, operational challenges, or no customer needs, and achieving their targets. And procurement only can catch this process by deepens their knowledge in every field, in every process, in every aspect that stakeholder need. And that's why I always encourage procurement professionals to start with curiosity. For instance, spend time with the business, a lot of time, ask questions, and understand what real success looks like for your stakeholders. And once you understand their priorities, you can create value in many ways. For instance, improving supplier performance, reducing risks, increasing efficiency, or just helping them solve real problems, not just routine ones. And to be back to savings again, we know that savings, they will always be important, but procurement becomes truly strategic when it helps solve business problems. And that's when people stop seeing procurement as just a function and start seeing it as a trusted partner. And it's very important and significant impact. Yeah.
It really is, because I think the attitude of partnering and leaning into what matters to them is really at the heart of the showing up to say, you've got to go through me, versus showing up to say, I'm here to help you. And not from that, like, hey, I'm here from the government, I'm here to help, which often leaves people feeling uncomfortable, but from the, really, we're here and we've helped these other people. And sometimes that story that you can tell, where you're able to meet a new stakeholder in the business and share with them a story of how you helped somebody like them, is a really powerful gatekeeper. If you've got somebody new in the organization, maybe they've ended up working with some other procurement team somewhere else that they didn't work well with, or that wasn't really helping them. And for you to help establish that credibility, the curiosity that you're emphasizing, bringing, it's so powerful. And then for somebody brand new, as you're building that relationship, sharing a story of how you've helped somebody like them, and how it wasn't just about procurement, it wasn't just about savings, but it was about making sure that it's what the business is looking for. I think that those are really powerful ingredients. I know we're just kind of running out of the time that you have available for us today, Nina. If you were going to leave something that you would hope somebody remembers 6 weeks after watching this, what would you want them to take home?
Now, before we wrap up, I encourage procurement professionals to think bigger about the role we can play and about the role we currently have. We procurement professionals, we have a unique position in our organization, because we connect people, we connect suppliers, we connect operational flows, ideas, opportunities across the business, and we have huge role. And if we continue to challenge ourselves, stay curious, and focus on making a meaningful impact, the opportunities for procurement are enormous. Really, it is. And it's very, very important to stay humble, to stay focused, and to stay passionate about your profession.
Wise words to live by, Nina. Thank you so much for joining us today, for sharing your experience, and for helping others on their journey.
So thank you for your invitation. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise. And for all of you watching, this has been another edition of The Never Ending Climb for a Stronger Supply Chain and Procurement. We'll see you next week.